How's it going, guys? Today we're going to be working on Illustrator. We're going to be learning how to create, something like this right here, which is very basic. Something like this one, which is a little bit, uh, you know, with more advanced techniques. This one a lot more advanced. And then, of course, using all of our illustrations, pen tools and stuff like that to create something like the Mini Cooper logo. Um, so the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is just go ahead and drag these out of the way um, so that I can go ahead and work on my white area that I have here. One thing I want to mention, is say for example, I type in the word, you know, Iron Man, right? And I make it big just so that I can be able to see what I'm doing. Sometimes I tell you guys like, hey, select the entire thing. You don't have to do. Well, actually, the way you do select it is you can either click on it, or you can click and hold to create like a little box. You don't have to select the entire thing actually. So you can just select part of it, and it selects everything. So say here, for example, I'm going to be selecting the entire Avengers. Um, if I do this, it's actually can select this entire blue box because right here in this little tiny corner, it's selecting the blue box, and that block box gets selected. So right here, we're going to go ahead and start with the Iron Man one. And I'm going to go ahead and change my font over to maybe something like Arial. Uh, Maybe I don't remember which one I used here. Futura, yeah. Check if you have Futura. We'll go with that one. Um, so if not, you can use like Century Gothic, I believe. But check if you have Futura, and if you do, we can use this one. If not, Century Gothic will work just fine for what we're going to be doing. Um, so in this tutorial, of the Iron Man one, I'm going to be showing you how you can play around with the words here. The first thing you want to do is turn this from a typing text, something that you can type on. You want to go ahead and turn it into something that has, your vector points. And the way you do that is you can go to, make sure it's selected, and you can go to Object, and you can go to Expand. By expanding this, it'll ask you if you want to expand the objects and fill, and you just click OK. Just make sure everything's check marked. And from here on out, you now have like all these little points that you can select. So if I were to select, uh, the items, now I'd be able to select the points. And the way you do that is you have the black mouse here, which is the selection tool, and then you also have your directional selection tool. With this white mouse, you can go ahead and select dots on your image, and by doing that, you can actually extend them in whatever direction you choose to. So by selecting these dots, I can choose to, you know, extend words outwards and stuff like that, as you see here. So we're going to go ahead and do that right now. Just go ahead and extend these outwards. And I guess this one as well. I believe I did the letter A, yeah. So I'll go ahead and extend the A. And our goal here is to try to keep it as aligned and straight as possible. So now that we have this, we can actually go back to our black selection, which is our selectional tool. And as you can see now, when we select it, we can move the whole entire thing. And we've kind of played around with our text now. Now, because of this, we can, create different stuff with our, if this was supposed to be a logo, we can put Iron Man, the best Avenger, or something like that, right? And so we can now maybe put this to be aligned with the words here, right there. And so now it's, something kind of cool. Like if you add like a little slogan, it doesn't look like it's just randomly placed there. Now it looks like it belongs with your typography because you've added it in such a way that makes it all connect together. But I'll go ahead and delete this part. And the next part we're going to be doing is just grabbing a rectangle tool and creating a rectangle that just goes through it just like so. And so if you remember, we have our Pathfinder tools. And with our Pathfinders, we can start playing around with our text here. But if we were to select this right now and just click the exclude part, it would do this. And if we were to ungroup it, we'd actually end up erasing everything uh, that we actually want to keep, you know. So unless you wanted to do something like this, that's not what we're going to be doing. So after you've created your rectangle here, the next thing you're going to want to do is go ahead and grab the Iron Man, and we're going to hold Alt on our keyboard, and we're actually going to make a copy of it. Now that we have this copy, what we're going to go ahead and do is make sure that we have black in our fill, and we're going to switch over to our stroke, and we're going to add black as well. Now that we have that, we can go ahead and make this just a tad bigger, just like so. Maybe like about 10 points is fine. And once we have that, we're actually going to go, because right now if we were to try to like do something with it, the actual points are inside. It doesn't have any points in the outside. So what we're going to go is go to object, and we're going to expand that. By expanding it, it's not going to give you your points in the outside. So if I want to come here, you can select the points in the corner. But we also have points in the inside, and it looks like a big mess. And if we try to do the exclude now, it would just mess up with all these little lines. So what we're actually going to do to this one is we're going to unite everything. Now that it's all united, we have one big letter right here that we can go ahead and put here. And now we're going to select the shape and these big letters. And now we can click exclude. So now we can ungroup it. And by ungrouping it, we can now select these top parts and just delete them. And now that we've deleted all these parts, we now have this effect right here. That looks pretty cool. We can go ahead and select all the middle pieces. And once we have all these middle pieces selected, we can double click on our color and add some color to it, which looks pretty cool. And actually red and black looks pretty cool. So I'll go ahead and make this one a little bit smaller and go ahead and drag this one off to the side. And we've done Iron Man. Now one of the things that I wanted to point out that we have to make sure we do, otherwise it's going to end up coming back to haunt us. I'd have to double check where it is that it's located on Windows. But what we want to do is go to our preferences for Illustrator. So I have it here under preferences. I believe yours is going to be either under file or edit, and you'll see here like a preferences or something like that. But go to preferences in general, and under general you're going to see this little one that says scale, strokes, and effect, and make sure that you have a check mark. If you don't have one, just go ahead and put one in there and then press OK. Alright, so now that we have this one, we're going to go ahead and work with our Avengers logo. And in order to do that one, we're actually going to need so under the fonts or files used, I provided for you guys the fonts we're going to be using. So just go ahead and install those, and I'll go by and put in my password, but just go ahead and install those fonts, and then we can go back to our our logo over here. And so the first thing we're gonna do actually is, instead of typing all this, or we can leave it all typed out and get an actual size right around there. It's pretty good. We're actually gonna double click and highlight everything up to the V, and then just press Control C to copy it and delete it from there. So we can leave the A by itself, and then we're going to type separately Control V to paste it, this one over here by itself. So we'll put that one to the side right now, and we're going to work with the letter A. And now the first thing we're going to be doing is going to Object and expanding this. So that way we can now start to mess with it as we see fit. Once we've done this, we're going to go ahead and create our circle here. We're going to go to our ellipse tool, and we're going to create a circle. And as we create this circle, it's I have it filled in right now. So what I want is an outline, and I want to make this kind of a big outline, something like that. And I'm going to go ahead and put this in here to see where it lands. And I kind of want to adjust this to where right around there. That looks decent. That looks pretty good. And then I'll go ahead and bring this guy over, and I'll go do the same thing, object and expand, and click OK. And I'll go ahead and put this guy right around here. Maybe even kind of, lift it in away from the A a little bit, just like that. And from there, I'll go ahead and maybe move the letter A a little closer this way. That looks kind of good. Yeah. So now that we have this, I'm gonna go ahead and select the A by just pressing on the A, holding Shift and selecting Avengers, and then holding Alt on the keyboard. I'm gonna go ahead and make a copy of it, and I'll do the exact same thing here. I'll go ahead and switch over to my stroke. Make sure I add a black stroke as well. And I'm going to go ahead and make this just a little bit thicker, just like so. Maybe a little more, just like that. And then go to Object, Expand, and click OK. So now this creates all these outlines, and we're just going to go ahead and unite everything so that it becomes one. And we'll go ahead and bring this over here. And as we have that, I'll go ahead and make sure that that's selected, and so is this one here. Actually, we haven't expanded this guy yet, so we need to go to Object and Expand. And so now, once we expand him, he'll be with the little dots in the inside and outside. So now we can select that one and this one, and we can put Exclude. And once we've done that, we can click on it, right-click, and ungroup it. And we can delete all these parts that we don't need. And so now we have this cool looking Avengers logo right here. But as you can see, we've added some gradients and stuff to this one. So one of the things we'll go ahead and do is select the letter A, get our gradient tool, make sure that we switch over to our fill and select our gradient. Mine by default is this one because I was working with it on this side over here. But we're going to go ahead and switch this over. So I'll go ahead and click here. And you should see this little thing that looks like books and it says Swatch Library. We'll click there and we're going to Gradients, and we're going to click Metals. And under Metals, we're going to select something cool from here. Let's see what we have. Yeah, see something like this one here. Maybe. I don't know. Oh, that looks pretty cool. I'll go with this blue one here. And just select OK. And it just kind of move the gradient accordingly to however I want. Maybe from bottom to top. Oh yeah, see, that looks pretty nice. Just like that. So I'll go ahead and leave that one like that. And then I'll go ahead and select Avengers, and maybe I'll select something else from here. Maybe like this yellow one. And grab my gradient tool. And my gradient tool allows me to change this the way I have it. And leave that one like that. I'll go ahead and grab this black right here and select something. I'm just choosing different gradients purposely, not because they look that great, but just to kind of show you all the way we can customize our gradients. So here, as you can see, we have a lot of different gradients that are from this little one that we chose. Now I want to get rid of them. So I'll select on the colors and pull down. Select on the color and pull down. And I want only 2 for this one. And so I'm going to go ahead and put this one here and double click. And I actually want more of a reddish color. So go ahead and bring that over. Yeah, maybe like that. And I'll switch this over to radio and grab my gradient tool. Click here and delete. Oops. Click here and see if I can arrange this in some way. Actually, I'm just gonna create a new one, and so that'll get rid of all the other ones. So I'm gonna select both of them, grab my gradient, and I'll start from here and work my way this way. There we go, something like that. And then once we've done this, what we're actually going to do here is select everything. We're going to hold Alt and drag this down. And we're going to go ahead. You see how it has a question mark? That's because we're holding different colors. And so it doesn't know which color it wants to fill in. So what we're going to do is just select color and put everything the same color. Then go over to our strokes and add another one of the same colors. And we're just going to make this a lot thicker. It's like around 15%. And go to Object and Expand. And click OK. Now that we've expanded it, we can go ahead and unite it, and it's going to create a simple looking logo like this. But if you noticed, some of these expansions created this crazy looking spikes in here. You have one there, here, and here. So by zooming in so we can see them, by selecting our direct selection tool, we can actually grab those little points, just kind of arrange them so that they look, I usually take them into a different point that's already there. That looks pretty good. And there's one little one right here. Go ahead and grab it and bring it down there. Now that we have that, we can actually select this guy, choose the red, double click, and choose like a black color. Oops, I pressed cancel. Select a black color. Now go ahead and bring this here. And of course, arrange and send it to the back. And so now we have this. It's not the same colors, but you guys get the idea, right? And we'll go ahead and make this small again and put this one up here. So now we have Iron Man and we have Avengers. Now we can work on Gon's tutorials. And that'll be on part 2 of this tutorial. So stay tuned. Peace out.